Hello everyone, Frank Wynncraft here with another video. This video is going to be focused on Dr. Legendary and the Blizzard Brawl minigame. This is going to be a guide to all of his abilities explained in a more visual way for anyone who's interested in picking up the tank character in the limited Christmas time minigame. On that note, Merry Christmas to one and all. I look forward to seeing you guys in the lobby with this guide in hand. So let's get started. First things first, full disclosure, I have not cracked bronze in Overwatch 1 or 2. That makes me feel uniquely unqualified to explain to you how this character works. However, I did have the pleasure of sourcing a lot of my information from some very talented Discord users, and including Sockmower, the creator of Blizzard Brawl. So we'll be jumping right on in here. First things first, let's talk about what makes Dr. Legendary so interesting. His modes. Dr. Legendary has two distinct modes, each with uniquely different movesets. Learning what each mode does is going to be very key to getting you started with playing this character. So let's go and move over to the screenshot to show you some more information. Pulling out my laser pointer here, you can see that in the middle of the screen of this Dr. Legendary gameplay footage, you can see little stickman signifying the mode as per the previous screenshot, human mode versus mech mode. This is whenever you switch, this is what reflects what mode you are currently in. That's the indicator for the hover ability, which I'll get to in a second. And this is your mech integrity, which I'll also get into a second. But just know it's similar, it's a health equivalency thing. Up top, you can see the abilities that are off cooldown. So if you see them fully fleshed out here, that means you can use them. They also have those little icon indicators so that you know what button to press to activate the respective things. And in a second, you'll know whether you want to activate them or not. Let's go ahead and swing on to the second page. Right over here is, on human mode, the first ability, which is on the right click, Corkus Pride. It is a 5-shot gun that does 8 damage in total and shoots over about 1 second, so about 8 damage per second. The game describes it as 4 bullets and a laser, but none of these attacks actually pierce, so don't be fooled. There's no piercing. It's treated like a regular weapon. This largely isn't going to be what you're doing most of your damage with, but it does help you set up for a really good movement option on Dr. Legendary's human mode, which is, let's see here, Hover Boost. Hover Boost is activated on the left click, and again, it's a human mode ability, so it's only available on human. So your use cases for it will be when you're trying to get around as a human, either getting to the point quickly or jumping into a fight or getting out of a fight after your mech's been broken. So in the middle of your screen, you'll see the little helicopter icon next to the human or mech icon. That signifies whether it's active or not. It takes 7 shots of Corkus Pride to charge this thing, and once you've charged it, it never decays. You can hold on to it until you die, on the match ends, or when you use it. So don't worry about, use it or lose it. It's going to stay there for as long as you need it. Typically, the best use case for it is going to be using that 2 seconds of controlled flight to get out of bad situations, just because since it's only active on human mode and not mech mode, if you're in a mech and the mech loses all its health and breaks and now you're just a little old human in the middle of a big fight, you can use this to immediately just left click and fly out of danger, either towards a health pack, towards a teammate, or just out of the way, which is awesome possum. Moving on. Next is getting into mech mode. Since you start as human mode, how do you turn into a mech? You use the shift form ability, which happens to be on the shift key. The moment you hit the shift key, a bunch of stuff happens. First things first, you gain overhealth, and you give it to allies as well within about 5 blocks. It decays, but it's still very comfortable. Ideally, you want to get as many switches going in a game as possible so that you can utilize that overhealth as much as you can for yourself and your teammates. Another thing you want to know is that you will be slow. Mech mode is inherently slow, like a diva in Overwatch 2, but all your attacks also deal slowness, which is amazing. You also deal increased knockback, and you gain, again, mech integrity, which you saw in the previous screenshot there as well. I want to talk a little bit about the mech itself. The description in game says that you become easier to hit. What that actually means is your hitbox is changing. While it visually doesn't look like anything on anybody's end, this is how various abilities see yourself. This is a normal human, i.e. Human mode or any character in Blizzard Brawl. This is what happens when you are a mech. Most abilities look at you at a 1.7 by 1.7 by 2.1. 2.1 is the height, 1.7 is the width. And certain abilities that are either, healing related on your teammate side or some rough abilities on the enemy side look at you like this. So you are going to be taking a lot of hits by a lot of stuff flying around, whether you like it or not. But in order to help you survive that, that is why we have integrity. Integrity, in effect, whenever you turn into a mech or shift into mech mode, you have your 25 over health, and your health gets replaced for integrity. Now, I just put integrity in this bar. I've just put integrity just to the right, just to signify that an enemy would have to break through the over health, then break through all of your integrity to even start chipping at your health. I think a couple things to note about integrity. It regenerates at 2.25 integrity per second whenever you're in human mode. So typically between fights, you do want to try and switch to human mode so that you can regenerate up to that 45 integrity. Especially because once you hit 0 integrity, you immediately are forced back into human mode, which may not be what you really want to do. You can use hover to get out, but it would be better not to get there at all. In terms of anything else, hitting 0 on integrity is also not recommended, because when you hit 0, it's like a Reinhardt shield in Overwatch 2. It takes longer to begin the regeneration process. It just stays broken for like 3 seconds and then starts counting, starts building that integrity back on. So you're losing about 6.75 second integrity's worth of value just by letting it hit 0. So if it's going to break, just shift out, fly away, and figure it out from there. So something to keep in mind there as well. Next is the mech attacks, right and left click. Right click on human, of course, was the pea shooter. This is more of a missile launcher. It's called Corkus Wrath. In effect, it looks like a bunch of slash animations that slowly travel towards a target, which explode in a small firework ball, either blue or red, depending on your team. The direct hit will do 16 damage, and then the resulting fireworks will deal 8 damage for a total of 24. This is very nice because it's a lot better than your pea shooter from the human mode, even though this doesn't actually charge hover, but it is what it is. These hits will charge, will give the enemy slowness, which allows you to line them up better. But you do typically want to try and pre-fire these bad boys or predict the enemies, because they are relatively slow. You'll see this in game this Christmas as well. One fun fact is that in 2024, this ability was bugged to do 160 damage instead. It was fondly called by the community backshots from the beyond. So while it is in a pitiful state compared to then, it is nothing to scoff at. Moving on, the left click, which in human mode you'll remember was hover, this is also an ability option in mech form called Crushing Blow. It's where your character, Dr. Legendary, will click left click, he will launch himself into the air, hover for just like a split second, and then smash down to wherever he's looking, dealing 12 damage within 3.5 blocks. You can tell if the ability is ready with the Crushing Blow icon all the way on the top. You can see it's the left click indicator right there. By the way, similar thing for the shift mech ability. Let me just go back. You'll see this on top whenever it's off cooldown. This is about 3 seconds, and I want to say this is about 9-ish seconds or so. You can always check the patch notes or the wiki just in case you aren't super sure, but it'll be pretty obvious when you're playing there as well. Best use case for this is probably an engagement tool. Just right before you get into the fight, you're walking in as a human, you've got your hover charged, you activate mech mode, everybody gets that overhealth, you immediately proc Crushing Blow, you go into the air, find your target, smash in the middle, start rocketing the crap out of them. One thing to keep in mind is that you actually have enough time up here to line up a shot of a rocket. So when you're up there, don't just chill there and just do nothing. Set yourself up for success. Fire a rocket in that direction and smash into them with the burst damage of 24 plus 12, which isn't shabby at all. In terms of anything else, now we're going to talk about ultimates. Each form, of course, has its own unique ultimate, but I want to focus on human form here because it's significantly better than its sister counterpart. The human form's ability is a BOR7 Hellfire module. It is very Helldivers coded, and the way that you basically place down a little fireworks flare just in the area where your crosshair is pointing, and after just a few seconds, basically there's an animation of it flying upwards in a little flare-like fashion, and the entire area gets bombarded with your missiles. Now, not the same missiles. They do 10 damage instead of 24. They show up every 0.15 seconds for 5 seconds, which totals up to 33 missiles. It's a massive area. You can cover an entire capture point, which forces the issue of your enemies either need to step away from the area to not get blown to pieces, or stay in the area to contest the point and get blown to pieces. So very, very good ultimate. It is at a 0.8 multiplier, which in this case means that it is harder to charge than other ultimates. So something to keep in mind here as well. And this is just a quick summary of a good gameplay loop in case all that information was a little much for you. Just log into the game, you're in human mode, charge or hover. Now you've got an escape option for whenever you want. Shift into mech mode near your team. That's generally a nice plus. You can engage with crushing blows or use them as finishers. Rocket spam is the way to go. Remember to predict and lead. Never let integrity hit 0. Just switch back to human mode and duke it out from there or fly away. Once integrity's back, just engage mech mode again and get right back into it. That is your Dr. Legendary Guide explained. You may notice I skipped over the Mech Ultimate. The Mech Mode Ultimate is a ground slam that does 3 delayed waves and does a little bit of stun damage and has a massive range. But the issue is I had no footage of it, and I don't feel like I can talk about it until Blizzard Festival actually rolls around. But it's not super well loved in the community right now, just because the other one is just so much better. And this one with the shockwaves, they're like Gruslank's shockwaves from the raids, which are slow, and you can jump over them relatively trivially. And everybody's got fairly wonky mobility in Blizzard Brawl, so you'll see a lot less. But that is Dr. Legendary for you guys. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. This is Frank Wynncraft bringing you your Christmas Dr. Legendary video guide. Have a Merry Christmas.